Hello, it's Caroline at Movement Style with a standing yoga sequence which opens the hips and flows the spine and especially focuses later in the sequence on spinal twists. I'm holding these yoga bricks to remind me to say that 2 yoga bricks may be very useful and helpful during the course of this practice, and otherwise a yoga mat may be all that you need. This is quite a strong sequence and not recommended for complete beginners at yoga unless you've already done the warm-up sequence that belongs in this playlist with this particular hip opening twisting sequence. Let's begin by coming to the end of our mat, and from here just going to check in with the alignment through the bone structure of the skeleton, the legs flowing nice and easily in hip joints, knee joints, ankle joints, and pelvis nice and wide and open, engaging in the lower abdomen, navel drawing to the spine, and seeing if we can feel right from the base of the spine, the weight of the spine, but also the energy, the lightness of the spine and the spaces between all the vertebrae, releasing up towards the crown of the head. And from out of this position of aligned standing, let's take a stride along the length of the mat so we can breathe in and breathe out to arrive in a long stride position. And then here, keeping the lower abdominal muscles working, try to keep the pelvis a little bit hovered away from the thigh bones. So we're coming into a lunge, both thighs lengthen away from the hips, and this front knee just stays right above the front heel. As we're ready, we're going to breathe in, let the arms come through to Namaste. And then from here, we're going to open the heart center, breathing in, breathing out to come back to Namaste. Let's give that another couple of goes. Breathing in to really open the heart center, breathing out to come back to Namaste. Breathing in, opening, breathing out to come back. And let's reach up, long stretch, and then from here we can breathe out, step everything together, Utthita deep squat, breathing in and breathing out again, the arms coming through to the sides. So again, now we're more towards the front of our mats. We can think about our aligned bone structure, the spaces between our bones, just allowing our muscles to structure some strength around those spaces. Let's work this time to step back. So we need to keep lots of energy upright and almost forwards through the trunk of the body. We can step our right leg back, so this time our left leg is in front. And again, if we didn't get the spacing quite right, we can draw up, lengthen in again, just keeping a check that this front knee stays above the hip joint. Pelvis stays easy, resting on the tops of the thigh bones with a little bit of strength in the lower abdomen, keep the pelvis lifted. So then as we're ready, let's breathe in, arms flow up, breathe out, Namaste. Now with these movements, the arms can really potentially pull the spine around, and in fact there's every bit as much movement through the spine on its own, abdominal muscles working, muscles around the ribcage working, as the arms. So it's not the arms pulling the spine, but the muscles closest to the spine working to flow the spine into that little back bend. Come back and let's breathe in to stretch up. And then from here we're going to step back this time to the little squat shape that we had before, Utthita. Breathing in, we extend. Breathing out, we let the arms come down to the sides. Let's work a little bit on opening the sides some more in the sequence, and we can thread our leg strength up firmly into the hip joints. Let the tailbone move downwards, crown of the head grow tall, gluteal muscles working. Let's breathe in and bring your right arm up. And then breathing out, we're lifting up to come over. So the muscles on this side press up, the side of the ribcage lifting up and out. And let's breathe in, lift up a little bit, feel the spaces come back into the spine. Breathing out, we're moving up to come over side bend. Keep your leg strength threading up into your hip joints so you've got a nice firm base beneath you. Once more, breathing out into that side bend, breathing in to come back up. And then here we are, breathing in, up to come over, legs strong again. Breathing in, we lift up so that we come to the point where we feel we can reopen space between the vertebrae, right from the base of the spine, up to come over. And this side, all the time pushing up, keeping as much strength on the underside as you can. So I think we've got one more little flow here. You can look wherever feels comfortable, forwards or downwards or upwards. And all the way back. Good. So let's allow the legs to go quite wide here. Nice wide warrior position as we breathe in, our leg strength drawing up through the kneecaps, fronts of the thighs, lifting up from the heels through the backs of the legs into the gluteal muscles. Let's just breathe out, let the arms come back down. So 2 or 3 times, energy, life energy, right from the soles of the feet through the whole body, up into the fingertips. Good. So now then, from here, we're going to think about taking up our Virabhadrasana 2 or Warrior 2 legs. So keeping the legs nice and drawn up, the muscles drawn up, we're going to try to revolve your left leg, turning it in from the hip joint, and keeping the leg muscles drawn up, gluteal muscles drawn up, turning out your right leg from the hip joint. And then again, both thighs opening away from the pelvis. So it's harder to open the back hip here and the back inside leg. But again, see if you can use your lower abdominal strength to keep lifting the pelvis away from the thigh bones. Lots of openness through that inside leg. Outside edge of the foot rolls into the floor, arch lifts, and the front thigh nice and strong. You can wrap the muscles around the leg there to find strength. So we take up the arms for our Virabhadrasana 2. And how about we come back to the idea of side bending here. So we're going to breathe in, come up to come over. So avoiding just sinking, dropping the weight. Lift up, structure the shape through your spine, moving up to come over. So this part of my body is strong and lifted, it's not sinking. Breathing in to come back, breathing out, coming up to come over. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in again, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and breathing out. Let's from here pass back into Virabhadrasana 2. Breathe in, pass back up through our wide warrior, exhalation to let go. So now if it feels easier, if you're going to be able to flow more readily, just allowing your legs to come together and then widening away. But otherwise we're going to head off into the other side, so gathering the leg strength up into the pelvis, revolving now your right leg to turn it inwards and your left leg to turn it outwards, drawing the strength up through the thigh muscles, front, back, sides, and then both legs opening away from the hip joints as evenly as you can. Spine nice and tall here, and the arms taking up our Virabhadrasana 2 position. So once again, as you're ready, let's open upwards, breathing in, breathing out to go back, breathing in to come back to the center, breathing out, up to go over, breathing in, back to the center, breathing out, up to go over, breathing in, and breathing out. Last time we're flowing. Breathing in and then out to go back. Breathing in, breathing out, up to go over. Breathing in again back to our Virabhadrasana 2. Let's breathe in to grow tall. And breathing out to let go. Let's from there just bring the legs in. And we'll release the lower back. So we could do that using blocks, or bricks rather. Or if you feel that you're more supple than that, you can come on through without. But we're just going to flow downwards. And although in a forward bend, there's a lot of downwards movement going through the trunk of the body, I still think try to keep the strength of your core muscles working, especially around your rib cage, so that rather than just hanging there, that you're actually actively supporting your ribs back and up, supporting your waist back and up, and the spine can then really lengthen. It also makes it so much easier when we come through to these half positions, the Ardha Uttanasana, that half lift. Knees working, fronts of the knees, insides of the knees. Weight as even as you can between the fronts and the backs of the feet. And again, although you might have bricks or blocks there, or you might be working with the floor, but then seeing if you can take the strength that you need into your body rather than putting the strength or asking for the floor to support your strength, because after all, if we don't have the bricks or blocks there, or if we begin to move our position, then we need that support. So let's flow it down again and then back up to our half lift. We can let the knees bend, hinge on through so that your trunk has come to a 45-degree angle with the floor. Arms could go straight up if your lower back is strong enough, but if you're not so sure, circle them out and up. Be less taxing on the lower back. Breathing in, here we are again, and breathing out, let's pass down. Let's just come into a moment's pause in Tadasana with Namaste or Samastiti. We just breathe and allow our exhalation to lengthen. So then let's just allow that to let go. And we could position our bricks to either end of the yoga mat, or you might have to, if you've only got one brick, you might have to collect it again afterwards. And let's come back to our wide-legged position. And drawing our strength up through our legs, into the hips and the spine as well. Often if you just let your knees soften, you can direct the tailbone under and then really grow up through your whole spine. Thread the leg strength up through the fronts of the legs, heels right up through the backs of the legs to your sitting bones, and arch of the foot through the inside leg. And then once again, let's just breathe in and breathe out. And from here, we're going to let your left leg revolve, turning in, right leg revolve, turning out. See if you can keep that strength pulling up through the leg muscles. And then as you lunge, you're lunging against your contractions. So you allow the contractions to soften to take the lunge, but you keep the leg muscles strong, pulling up for strength. And then here, a little bit of a twist again as we come into our Virabhadrasana 2 position. And we're going to, from here, come into a long extension, a lateral extension of the spine. Firm anchor to your back heel, inside hip joint, inside knee, inside heel. Keep lengthening away from your tailbone. And from your tailbone, you're aiming to open and lengthen your spine towards the crown of the head. Now this is where, for example, a block can be helpful, or a brick can be helpful. We let the arm come alongside the ear, shoulder blade can move down the back, we can look forwards, that will be easier. We can look out and up, or all the way to the fingertips if you want to. So this is where, again, although we've got a thigh, or we've got a brick or block, we're trying to think about bringing the strength into our ribs, into our waist, lower abdomen, as much as possible. Let's breathe in, come up, and then we just swivel round again. So again, giving your legs a little breather if they need it, and then we let the legs come wide. We know how wide we need them this time. And we draw up through the kneecaps, through the thighs, fronts and backs of the legs, revolving your right leg, turning it in, revolving the left leg, turning it out. You can breathe in and breathe out. And then again, the idea of both thigh bones opening away from your hip joints, coming into this position. We keep the leg muscles strong, and then we lunge against the contractions in a gentle way, but that's essentially what we do. So we open the arms, Virabhadrasana 2, and the spine, opening and lengthening, a little bit of a twist. And then from here, we anchor that back heel to the mat. We lengthen back, tailbone, inside hip, inside knee, heel. And we bring a long line through our spine, tailbone to crown, and then that upper arm can come through alongside our ear. So I try to aim the base of my breastbone towards the inside of my tailbone. I think about a wall of back muscles behind me, shoulder blades moving down the back, gluteal muscles pulling up on that right side, the back leg side. Can look forward, will be easier. Can look past the shoulder joint or towards your fingertips, by far and away the hardest. So as I say, we can be using the brick, but you're trying to feel that the strength is within your body. So again, as you're ready, breathing in energy to lift up, pulling up through the thighs, breathing out to come back down. So from here, we are going to just bring, if we can get our bricks out of the way, bring our legs back into the center and just releasing them a little bit, because we're going to bring them now into a forward bend with the legs wide again, but not as wide as in the Pilates. That would be a bit too wide. Outside edges of the feet can be in parallel, or sometimes it feels nice to bring the toes in a little bit extra. Sometimes that gives you a little bit more strength and can be helpful. Outside edges of the foot keep rolled into the floor and the arch lifted. And this is where, again, we can think in terms of coming into a forward bend. But we're thinking about using strength in the ribs and in the waist so that the body is supported, although it's moving forwards and downwards, but still the energy in the body is supporting it through space, even though gravity could just bring the body down. But we're thinking we're going to have a bit of independence from gravity, perhaps, and support our bodies. And then from here, let's think about bringing the trunk of the body forwards and outwards. Now, we've got the bricks, either the short position, the long position, or the floor. Either way, using your upper back strength, so you might be able to, if I come forward, see my upper back strength in place, and I'm holding on to that. And then the breastbone hugs to the spine, the lower abdomen lifts up and back, and the navel draws to the spine, and ideally the weight is between the front and the back of the feet, not too much back. Now from here, you might think in terms of just letting your left hand stay on the floor or on your block. Keep really reaching back through your left hip. And then as you're ready, with an exhalation, the spiraling action. And if you did the first video, you were familiar with this from the all fours position with one leg going to the side. And breathing out, we twist under. Breathing in again, using your waist strength, using the upper back strength. Keep reaching that left sitting bone back. Don't let it come forward. Keep the spine long. Breathing out to move under. Breathing in again, your twist. And breathing out to reach under. Shall we do one more? If you feel up to it, one more. If not, just relax into a forward bend, keeping the hip reaching back. Shoulder blades keep moving down the back. Breathing out, we move under. Breathing in, we come into our forward bend again. So I would just allow the knees to bend, either with or without your block, letting the lower spine release forwards, and then lifting up so the spine realigns. Then from here again, the body can reach out away from the hips. You can have your bricks or blocks if you want to. On the higher lift, it'll be a little bit softer. Reaching your right sitting bone back this time, abdominal muscles strong, breastbone hugs to the spine, leading from your spine, and then your arm opens afterwards. Breathing out, your waist leads you downwards, and then the arm leads through, spiraling with your spine, and then the arm opens once the spine's already twisted. If the arm twists too quickly or reaches too quickly, it locks the spine. Keeping your leg muscles nice and strong through the fronts of the thighs, insides of your knees, and the back outsides of the legs. Last one, everyone. We breathe in, keeping that right hip bone reaching back. Breathing out, we twist under. That's it. And then back to where we were. We're going to walk our legs in and towards us, either with your bricks or blocks or forward bend. And then from there, let's just relax our body down for a few moments. And to let the hips move back and towards the heels, coming into the full child on the mat. Just letting go. Good. So then, again, as you feel ready, let's roll up through our spine. In the preparatory video, we did the Ardha Supta Baddha Konasana lying on the back, and it looks very like the tree balance for Vrksasana, but only lying down. And you could, if you felt in this video that you would prefer to do something softer, you can come back into that tree shape lying on the mat at this stage. You can do first one side and then the other. But if you feel that ready to do something a little bit stronger again, how about coming back up to standing, just gently coming through, and then we're going to come into that balance position. So we can take the weight onto our right leg, drawing up through the kneecap, front of the thigh. Don't forget, we need lots of strength through the back of the leg in a balance. So right from your heel, through the calf, through the hamstrings, up into your gluteal muscles, really strong and solid. So the strength of the thigh is pulled up into your hip. Strengthen the lower abdomen. Navel drawing to the spine, base of the breastbone again, aiming to the inside of the tailbone. So we can go foot to foot, foot to lower leg. Ideally we bypass our knee and we just pop the foot all the way up to the inside of your right thigh. So again, just coming back to a sense of actively lengthening your spine, using your core strength, using your upper back strength. And from there we can breathe in, let the arms flow up. And I quite like the Vrksasana position where the branches are open. You could a little bit, if you wanted to, sway the branches, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, sway, breathing in. So of course it makes that balance a little bit harder, but sometimes quite nice, and we did practice these positions before. There we are. And then passing back, namaste. And we can release everything down. So then how about we think about our other side as well. We just give ourselves a moment to calibrate. And then before the capacity to balance moves on, we just bring the weight as even as we can between the front and the back of our new leg that we're going to balance on, and we thread the strength up from our instep through the inside leg, right the way up to the hip joint and through the kneecap, front of the thigh, and then all that strength through the back of the leg, and the gluteal muscles drawing up. And then, as one leg comes away from the floor, just thinking about drawing the tailbone down, feel the strength in the back of your waist working. That really helps you to support the hip when one leg comes out. And waist grows tall, ribs tapering in, base of the breastbone aims to the breastbone. Foot to lower leg. Or foot to, your thigh, just bypassing your knee, ideally. So sometimes a little bit of pressure between the knee and the inner thigh is helpful. And from here, as we're ready, we can flow the arms up, and we might think about letting our branches stay open. And then again, as you're ready, you can flow up to come over, breathing in to come center, up to come over, out breath, breathing in to come center. So I think we gave that 3 little flows. Now this is where again, your waist needs to push up to support you. If you go with gravity, that's when this just will not work. really need to structure your shape. Yeah, she said, not structuring her shape so well. That's it. And we come back, and then we just think about a last moment with our branches open, and then we can pass back to Namaste, and we let the leg come down. So a mini pause in Tadasana with Namaste, just being aware of the energy that lingers behind those positions and that tree balance. And then let's think about bringing ourselves down towards the mat. And especially it may be nice to come down opening the lower back. Now, for a lot of people, the heels will of course need to lift up. And what can be very helpful when the heels lift up is to have a block. And the block can just pop in under the heels. And then that may make it so much more accessible, and after the tree balance, this opening in the lower back can be very nice. Another thing that makes the squatting action more accessible is the legs going wider, and of course we've had quite a lot of movement already with the hips quite open, but not so much with stretching the calves. And if you have two blocks, you know, you could put one under both heels, but if you've only got one block, I wouldn't just only put one under one heel and not a block under the other heel. I would just keep it more even. It might be that the heels are lifted, is fine. It's just very hard work, but that's fine. Hard work is fine. From here, if you haven't got too much of a drop behind you, and even if there is just only a little drop, I'd still say cushion moving back by bringing your hand back. And then you're going to come into soles of the feet going together, knees going wide. But otherwise, of course, if you're in a bit of a lifted squat, you can lift up out of your squat and then come down in a more conventional way. So from here, could be that it's nice to support the hip joints, perhaps with your bricks. We can tuck the tailbone towards our heels, roll on down through the spine. Lots of space through the back of the neck and through the spine, and we can reach the arms behind us. And here, for so long as it's comfortable, just allowing the body to broaden and open away from the spine, through the shoulders and through the rib cage and through the pelvis into the hips and the legs. If it feels more comfortable or more accessible, just allowing the arms to roll outwards away from the sides. We simply keep breathing here, relaxing the body. Just being aware of the movement of the breath into the body, and again the movement of the breath out of the body. You'll be able to notice how the spine gently responds to the inhalations as the breath comes in, and again how your spine gently responds to the exhalations as the breath goes out. Observing the quality of the energy of the breath as the body is sufficiently relaxed and opened to be able to really feel the interaction between the breath and the spine. Observing how perhaps that quality of energy radiates through the rest of the body and even permeates the mind, allowing the mind to be in a state of very restful energy. Just acknowledging, owning any sense of peace or oneness that there may be at present. And gradually, just knowing that this gentle quality of the breath and the interaction between the breath and the spine, where breath meets life really, is always there underlying a stronger breath, but we need a stronger breath as we come back into movement and activity. We can just gradually adjust the breath and bring the legs back into a parallel position here, and allowing the spine to relax into the mat. And again, the energy that we've experienced through the body will still be there, but we need to begin to overlay that very soft energy with a little bit more strength of energy as we begin to move again. We can let our legs extend and the muscles engage again, all about our spine and through our backs. We're thinking about reopening the senses again, letting the sense of sight reconnect with the environment where you actually are located, and allowing your sense of hearing to connect again with the environment where you're located. And we can bring the thighs in towards the upper body, just circling the hips on the mat there 2 or 3 times in one direction, and we can always circle through 2 or 3 times as well in the opposite direction. And then as you feel ready, let's think about rolling over. We can come onto one side and away from the side, pressing up towards a seated position. Just taking up a comfortable position here, allowing the spine to be lovely and tall, hips to open away from the spine, ribs and shoulders to broaden away from the spine. Let's breathe in and breathe out. And we can breathe in and breathe out. Last breath. Om Shanti Namaste. Thank you for watching and following this video with me. I hope that you've enjoyed this sequence. It's always lovely to hear if you have enjoyed a sequence in the comments. Hope to see you again soon on the Movement Style channel.